Welcome to this week's episode of You Can Call Me Karen. Continuing on our millennial theme, we are talking about the chicks this week, their rise to massive fame, their fall from grace, and their continued ability to break down genre walls and appeal to the masses. We also hear an absolutely ridiculous and controversial Karen story from Manny this week. So please be prepared to share your opinions with us on social media. I personally know where Steph and I stand, so let's hear where you all stand. And lastly, we wrap up with all the good feels that the chicks and other female artists of that era deliver. So please join us now down memory lane.
Little box and the green box, little box and the blue one, box and the yellow one and the little and the box and the green box.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of You Can Call Me Karen. As you heard last week, we are going to be spending our time in the 90s and early 2000s. So this week we're talking about the Chicks, or the artists formerly known as the Dixie Chicks for our listeners who are not up to speed. Last year we explored cancel culture a bit, and so now we get to see an early example of canceled artists at the early days of the internet and what it meant for their careers. But before we do that, we gotta know from my lovely co-hosts, who you calling Karen? So Manny, Steph, say hello, and let's hear your Karens of the week.
Sorry, I jumped the gun a little bit. I was like, yay! Yippee!
I missed it completely. I was in the zone. I was locked in.
I know, because that's what happens when we listen to the Dixie Chicks. We get locked in. It's so exciting. But hello, I'm Manny.
Hey, Manny.
Brielle's gonna cringe when she hears that.
Perfect.
That's what I live for these days, just to make her life a living hell. Just wait till you guys get teenagers. It's rough in these streets. Do you know that song by okay, so yesterday, sorry to derail this whole intro, but this is important and I have to talk to you guys about it. Speaking of 90s. So yesterday we're laying down in the living room, just kicking it or whatever, and she starts singing that song, and I'm like, and she's like, oh. She goes, Elle, you just ruined that song for me. I go, I literally got on top of her and started wrestling. I was like, you ruined that song for me.
Because that
Do you know that there's a remake out?
No.
There's
I'm
a remake
I'm
out.
not tracking what song we're talking about right now.
Oh, God.
Shine.
Shine. So there's a remake out called Shine, and Glorilla does a verse on it or something with another artist.
No.
And so,
I'm sick of it.
And so, yeah. And so then I was like, Brielle, so I had to play it for her.
Did you play the real song for her so she could hear
She
it?
didn't realize that was a
sample?
90s song.
Kids these days.
Jamaican thing.
Karen, you don't realize that it's a 90s song either.
Kids these days, man. Can't take them anywhere.
I played it for her, but it was so funny because I couldn't figure out what the name of the song was, right? So I had to do a little digging. And then in the comments, it said the same thing that I said. It was it was so hard for me to find this song. All I could type in was swing.
Oh no. And she's back.
Stop it! Stop!
Oh my God.
sweating.
Oh my God, that is so great. I love that.
Did I tell you guys that I watched the Hulu documentary of about Shine?
No.
And it was so good. And it had
I feel like you talked about this before.
I feel like we talked about
Oh,
this
you
too.
did. I think you did. You're right.
And it had the guy who did the and he was like, he's kind of old now, and he did it like a cappella, and he sounded amazing.
Oh.
He's a politician, a Belize.
Shine is Belize, yeah, from Belize.
Wow.
Yeah, you need to watch that. It's on Hulu. It was very good.
Yeah, because
it
does it relate to kind of Bad Boy Records?
It does. Like we actually, yeah, watch it.
Okay. Oh, that's cute. Okay. Sorry. That took a whole nother route. My bad. I'm Manny.
I got to get us back on track here. So, while that was fascinating, I would love to know who you calling Karen this week.
I have a good Karen story. Over the holidays, we go to see Steve's family. His parents live in Richmond, Virginia, and his siblings and our family go there. And so there's a total of 4 grandkids there, 3 siblings and their spouses. And we always go after Christmas, and his mom makes a Christmas dinner, blah, blah, blah. So we're there for like 4 days. And when on the way back, we get to the airport, and we have TSA pre-check. So we get over to the security line, and the longest line happens to be TSA pre-check. Mm-hmm. And we both kind of like tilted our heads, but we saw the sign that that's the line for us. So we got in it. We didn't say anything out loud. Like, I think we both thought to ourselves, oh, this line's kind of long. And then so we're towards the end of the line because we just got there, and then people start coming up and having the same like thoughts. They're like, oh, is this the pre-check line? Mm-hmm. And then they're like, wow, this is long. And like about 3 or 4 families came up, did the exact same thing. They kind of stepped in front of us, then turned back like, are you guys pre-check? And we're like, we're all pre-check. And so they're like, oh my God. And so they all get at the end of the line. And I turned to Steve, I'm like, I guess the line is pretty long because everybody keeps doing the same thing. Well, here comes Karen.
Uh-oh.
A Karen lady walks up right up against the sign in front of this long line of people, and she's like, it looks like she's about to just jump in line in front of everybody, and then she's like, is this pre-check? And we're like, yeah, and go at the back. And she was like, oh, and she was like, well, I guess I'm just gonna go in the regular line then because I don't want to stand in this line. And I was like, girl, this is pre-check. Like, it's gonna work out. It always does, you know. But I was like, so she goes, but she's like over it. So she goes, and the line for non-pre-check did look way shorter. And so I turned to Steve and I was like, I hope this goes badly for her. And I decided to just
cast a spell on the Karen.
I cast a spell on her. I did. And I decided to make it I just watched what happened for her because I was intrigued. So we're pretty far back, and I would say 2 minutes later, the line starts moving more quickly because security realizes that this pre-check line is getting long. So they open another station because that's what they do for us pre-check people. So now you start hearing them shouting pre-check over here, and so the line is splitting off. Pre-check people know what they're doing, so they hand them their stuff. And we get up to where I can now see the lady, and she's kind of far back, and their line isn't moving really at all anymore because they're taking care of our line because we're pre-check. And so you see her like swaying and like leaning and stuff, and I was like. And so I was just thinking to myself, like, that's what you get. Like, she couldn't wait, and now it's better over here. And so I thought it would be over then, but it wasn't. This lady, I start to see we go through, and I see her going, excuse me, and cutting up in front of the regular like check people and saying like, excuse me, and basically like, I'm pre-check, I'm in the wrong line. And she gets up to the front where pre-check is, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be so mad if she just cuts over and gets in and then comes like right behind us.
Right.
And I missed the exchange because I had to like handle what we were doing, and I look up and I see her heading back to the back of the pre-check line because I think someone must have said like, you're not gonna just slide over here and then go next because your silly self stood in the wrong line. And so
yeah, that's why reading is fundamental.
Reading is fundamental. Don't like your boarding pass says pre-check. You stand in the pre-check line, and guess what? It does go a little bit faster. You don't go over in the wrong line and then shimmy your way through and then think that you're going to be next. And all because she didn't feel it. It wasn't even like she just didn't feel like she deserved to have to wait.
Right.
She should have to wait. So I was starting to get fired up, and like after we were through, I was walking and I saw her at one of the coffee places, and I was like, you weren't even in a hurry. That's when it like it started to burn me up. She was standing in line for coffee. And so then I was like, I need to see where I need to know what time her flight departs. I have to know. Cause like, was
we are locked in now.
I was locked in. And so we like casually walked down. Her flight left 20 minutes after ours. And don't forget, we have a 3-year-old in a stroller, and we weren't panicked. Like, we saw the line was long, but, you know.
Everything was fine.
Anyway.
Airports turn everyone into Karens, I feel like.
Yeah. I was so happy that it didn't really work out for her.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of times those people do find their way, and it always pisses me off because it just reinforces their bad behavior.
Yeah. Get over yourself.
I think the real Karen here is the United States government. And I will tell you why.
I'm ready to hear this.
Because you only have to pay $80 or whatnot for a pre-check just so you don't have to take off your shoes and do the regular check. And now everyone
Which regular check? You don't have to take your shoes off anymore.
You don't?
No.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought that they took
recent.
that away now.
Oh, that was recent. I haven't flown in a long time. Okay, so so now everybody's on to it, and now it's just creating more like chaos and then what do? They add a whole nother thing that you have to pay for that's like one tier above for Clear. It's like,
But Clear is a private company, which that I hate. Like, I don't know. I feel like if we're setting up. Sorry.
I don't know Clear. I never used it. I'm not bougie.
Yeah, it's a private company, so they have some contract with the government to background check people, and
so they get called even before TSA pre-check.
Yeah, but it's also like, you pay more money. It's just another way for
That's what
for
I'm saying.
a company
like
and for our government to make money.
Exactly.
And,
like they're the real culprit here. Culprit here.
Yeah.
Because they're creating these more they're creating this anxiety when really it's like, why can't we just open all the lanes up and just get everybody moving?
Yeah.
And that brings us to 9/11 and the Dixie Chicks.
Perfect segue.
Except I didn't get my Karen story.
Done.
But we could
Full
go
circle.
off of Brielle and that'd be fine.
Wait, do you have a Karen story, Manny?
It's fine. I don't need to share it. We're already 13 minutes into the episode.
Give us the Cliff Notes. Come on.
Sorry.
Okay, well, no, don't anybody apologize. It's nobody's fault. Mine will be quick. I have a fictional Karen in the spirit of the 90s. And this one is very tough for me, but when I go and I look back and I think about it, it really is Karen behavior, especially what I know about being an educator. So my Karen of the week is...
I'm so excited.
Sister Mary Clarence.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Y'all's faces.
I don't know.
And I have to tell you why, and this is justice. This is justice for Rita's mom. Why did Sister Mary Clarence go up to her job and tell her about Rita not wanting Rita to participate in this field trip? I feel like if a teacher came up to me and told me what I needed to do for my kid at my job, I'd be really pissed off. And I would find that to be entitled behavior. And that's exactly what Sister Mary Clarence did when she wanted Rita to come on the field trip to sing. And Sister,
I
First
do not
of all,
accept
first of all,
this.
first of all, okay, a couple things.
Steph and I do not agree.
Sister
Screw
Mary
you and your
Clarence
opinion.
didn't go there asking for her for a field trip. She wanted to make sure her mom knew that she quit the choir. So she just said, I just wanted you to know that she quit the choir. And
That's
is
right.
there any way you could convince her to come back?
Yeah, because I am
I
a
don't think that's how
loving,
the
caring
conversation went.
educator.
I don't think that's how a conversation
That is
went.
how the conversation
It
went.
is.
Roll the clips.
I will.
I will.
I have received.
I'll find it.
I've seen this movie 1,000 times.
And I will send it in the group chat.
1,000 times
She
because I've not
100%
seen
said-
any other movie.
She said Rita quit the choir, and I wanted to know if you could.
That
is there
wasn't the
anything you could-
intent. That wasn't the intent. The intent was to say you're a bad mom. And
No.
No. No.
We are not watching the same movie.
No.
As it turns out,
And
Mimi has
also,
never
that
seen
conversation
Sister Act 2.
happened
at the barbershop, right? At the hair salon?
It was at her house. She was
In her
doing
house.
some hair
She
in
did
her
hair in her
house.
house.
Oh, yeah. She was working.
She was working. You're
and
right.
she came to be like,
I'm
I
concerned.
assume you
You have a
know that your
talented-
daughter is wildly talented, as do I, and I care about her. And I'm assuming you, as her mother, care about her as well and would like her to keep participating in the choir. And that's when Sister
But the
Mary
mom
Clarence
didn't ask for all that.
She did.
Well, that's when she finds out her mom's a bitch.
Her mom did.
She didn't know she was a bitch until she went then.
I'm just saying. We didn't ask for all that.
Oh, no.
And she's a
I hear
single
what you're.
mom.
Steph, stay strong with me.
No.
Manny is wrong.
I know what
Yeah.
you guys are saying. I love the movie. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but I'm just saying, in
You're wrong.
today's society, Steph, would you ever do that to a parent? As an educator?
Yeah. I wouldn't show up at their house, but I would
Exactly.
It was a different time then.
It was a different
there was
time.
no
There was no
phones and
cell
text
phone.
messaging.
Yeah. And it wasn't like checking
There were
email.
phones,
It was
correct?
like it was
There were
a very
phones.
personal touch to
It
just
was
say,
a
I just want,
movie.
like, yeah.
They needed to show
And
the
I
two
feel like-
characters in the same space.
I
It
feel
would
like
not have
too-
been effective over the phone.
And I feel like
Damn
yes,
it.
and I'm a pick up the phone person. So like if a student is there something going on, I've had to have tough conversations like, hey, I just want to let you know, like your child cheated on this math test, and that's not an
cheating on
email.
a math test is not the same as like
No, I know.
not taking an elective.
I know, but I was saying, I also had to share, I'm just noticing a change in his behaviors. He's getting involved with kids that like I had to have, it was an example of a change and a shift in his behaviors and stuff. And I didn't
I
put it
just
in
felt like
email.
Whoopi was going there to like confront the mom.
No. You're wrong.
It wasn't about Rita.
No, you're
I just
wrong.
kind of felt that way.
You're so wrong.
I'm happy to die on that sword. Listeners, you
Good.
tell us what you think.
They're going to agree with Steph and I because they've seen the movie.
Wow.
Oh, man.
The one movie I've seen.
That is so fresh.
I have spent all of my movie watching time watching Sister Act 2.
What is
Over
the
and over.
mom's name again?
Don't
Exactly.
fast.
Point proven. Proven the point.
Mommy. That's what she calls her. Okay.
Dang it. I can't. Why? Don't I know
She
her
calls her
name?
mommy. I'm just saying. I remember that
She
moment
does call her
because
mommy.
she's a 16-year-old, 17-year-old girl calling her mom mommy, and it stuck with me. Anyways, that was, I guess, your Karens of the week. It was your Karen and not Karen of the week. And now,
listeners are going to agree with me.
all right, I'm going to segue us now.
Good luck. You should have stopped me at, and that's the segue into 9/11.
True. You just heard our Karen stories, but we can't be the only ones. If you've had a Karen or Chad encounter or confessional, you've been a Karen yourself, we'd love to hear from you. Wherever you listen, click on the link in our show notes and text us your Karen stories.
All right. So, ladies, I have a bit of background today because one of the things that started my absolute love of podcast truly was years ago. Manny, you suggested that I listen to an episode of You're Wrong about the Chicks, or the Dixie Chicks as they were formerly known. And it was a great episode, which I will link. It was an episode that explored the cancellation of the Chicks after their 2003 blow up, where Natalie Maines made an anti-war comment about George W. ish. And the media went crazy over her comment. The discussion on that pod specifically was debating whether they were actually canceled or not, because their next album was really successful. They had huge tours after that. And so it was a really interesting debate. And then this comes full circle when recently, Manny, you shared, I think it was you, shared an Instagram reel of this couple, and I can't remember their names. I'll find it and I'll link it.
Yeah, I referenced them last week too.
Yeah, their videos are fantastic. So we'll find it and we'll link it. But their shtick is like listening to, like, I would say, white music from the 90s and 2000s that like totally bangs, and it watches their reaction as they're listening to it for the first time. And so the video specifically that I'm talking about was the one where they listened to Goodbye Earl from the Chicks. And for those that haven't listened, please pause, go find that song, listen to it, and then come back, because it's great. And they were absolutely like rocking out to this song. They were reading the lyrics and like dying over as this story progressed. Then when they realized that these ladies are about to kill the one's husband, their minds were blown. Anyways,
My
it was
mind was
a really
blown.
great little video.
Oh, right.
Watch
Stephanie was a virgin to that as well.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if I'm not mistaken, that may have been the first time you heard it too. Is that true?
Yeah, I don't know how I missed that song, but it was. So I was reacting the same way the young people in the video were.
I love that. Oh, I wish I would have gotten to react to it the first time like that as well. But anyways, naturally, we have to do an episode about the Chicks. And if you're a millennial like us, then I'm guessing the soundtrack to some of your most formative years also includes a few Chick songs. So things like Wide Open Spaces, Landslide, Goodbye Earl, although not you, Steph. Cowboy Take Me Away. Oh my gosh, there's so many. So yeah, I want to dive in a little bit. We will cover a little bit on cancel culture, but then just also about the Chicks in the late 90s and early 2000s and what we were all doing during that time. Okay, so background on the Chicks themselves. It wasn't until their fourth album, actually, that was titled Wide Open Spaces. It was released in January of '98 that they shot to the top of the charts. So before that, they had 3 albums that were, I think, popular in the more like grassroots country environment, but not on mainstream radio or on any of the charts until that point. Wide Open Spaces, for those that are familiar, include the album title, single Wide Open Spaces, as well as There's Your Trouble, which I think Steph was attempting to sing at the start of this. And
I sang
Go ahead and
beautifully.
sing it because we won't get fined for this because nobody knows what you're talking about.
But listen, it was beautiful, and I'm not doing it again because you just laughed, and it was excellent.
I laughed because I had no idea. I don't even think you said words. It was sort of a melody.
Yeah, I love that song. I'm not singing it. You made fun.
Okay, fine.
Darn.
I'll keep going. After Wide Open Spaces, they released Fly, which included Ready to Run, Cowboy Take Me Away, and the lovely Goodbye Earl. This was the first album they had that hit the number one spot on the US charts, not just the country charts. So it really opened them up to like mainstream pop as well. And then the next album, titled Home, also hit number one on the overall charts. And this is the album that they were touring for when this infamous incident happened in London. So for those that are not familiar, this was March 10th, 2003. And this was a few days before George W. Bush ordered the invasion of Iraq in like the post 9/11 space. So this was the first stop of the Chicks' Top of the World tour. They were in London, so they were overseas experiencing what the world was saying about America as we were about to invade Iraq. They were about to perform the cover of the song Travelin' Soldier, by the way. Amazing song.
Another good song.
It makes me cry every time I hear it.
Too.
So Natalie Maines was speaking. She's the lead singer of the band. She said, just so you know, we're on the good side with y'all. We do not want this war, this violence, and we're ashamed that the president of the United States is from Texas. Ooh. That is a direct quote. Immediately after that, Emily Strayer, one of her bandmates, said, but you know we're behind the troops 100%. And that's what was said. Those are all of the words, a direct quote. The concert proceeded. The media was there because this was the first stop on their big tour. And after this day, it fueled like a massive cancel campaign against the Chicks, and primarily from right-wing and conservative country music supporters. And I do think it's important.
I'm shocked about that.
I know. Normally, they would be so open to anti-war rhetoric.
So surprising.
I do think, though, it is important to remember where we were in history, right? So September 11th, 2001, the World Trade Towers came down. There was a lot of, pro-American rhetoric at this time. There was a bunch of country songs leading up to this moment, like Toby Keith's Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, The Angry American. There was Daryl Worley's Have You Forgotten? And there was a few about like a similar title, if you will. Anyways, this was all leading up to that time, right? So everyone was very pro-American, almost pro-war, to sound a little bit, I don't know. It was very much that feeling, that sentiment. Nationalist, thank you. That is the word I was searching for. And so this statement by the Chicks, being a very popular country band and happening to be out of the country while making this statement, was a really big contrast to what the rest of particularly the country music space was saying, but even a lot of the country at the time. And so, yeah, the media like latched onto this and lit them up. There were a ton of radio stations that stopped playing their music. There was a documentary that was done, I think a year later, about the band, and I'm going to get the stats wrong. NBC or CBS like refused to play all of the promotion videos associated with it. So there was a very like active campaign to cancel them, which was really one of the first incidents of the cancel culture in the modern era where we have internet and the ability to really influence these things. All of that said, fast forward to 2006, which was their Taking the Long Way album. It did not perform as well in terms of sales as anticipated, but it still topped the charts. It won 5 Grammys, including Album of the Year. They crushed it. They performed at the Grammys. And then they took a hiatus after the Grammys for, I think, 6 years until 2013. And then in 2020, that is when they changed their names from the Dixie Chicks to the Chicks. So I wanted to kind of decouple the changing of the name from this, anti-war statement that they made, because sometimes those things can get commingled. But I guess first off, I know that's a lot of information. They are a very interesting story, considering that their audience was largely, country music fans, quite conservative in many cases. And so this statement was really bold for them to make, particularly at the moment in time that they made it. And so I'm curious, what are your reactions? Do you remember this happening? Do you remember them being canceled? What were your thoughts about the cancellation? Let me start there.
Yeah, I remember this a lot well, and I feel like it, because at that point, 2003, the following year was my first time voting. In 2004 was my first time voting in a presidential election, and so, and being in college, and I'm starting to become a little bit more politically aware and socially aware, and just starting to form my opinions. Hearing a country group artists say, that they were against the war was like, oh, I don't care what kind of music you play, girl. I'm feeling you. Like, I was like, I just thought that was cool. And, yeah, that's it. I vividly remember.
Nanny, any early reactions from you?
I remember it's hard though, because I can't remember, I don't know what my memory is like from rewatching it or what I actually watched live, because I'm that old now. But I have a visual of them being on stage and this happening. And then what was the question?
Just what was your reaction to that happening? Where were you in life? What were you feeling?
I absolutely loved the Dixie Chicks, and I think that it is maybe I don't know. As you were talking, I was thinking a couple of things. I was thinking a lot of things, and I can't wait to go deeper into this. But I think one. I feel like they were positioned in a way that Taylor Swift was positioned before she took off fandom, where I think that they knew that more than conservatives were listening to her music, because they when we bring up the Chicks, I mean, people of all demographics love, in those comments on Instagram of those two couple watching the playback, that's it's a plethora of people who are invested in their music. So I wonder what the music industry knew about their trajectory, and what they were trying to do, and if where they were trying to have them go as musical artists. And then when that comment was made, how much they kind of tampered with it to make them, I don't know. I'm feeling kind of cynical about that, because
can I chime into that? Because when you're talking about their trajectory, and when after this incident, Karen, you said their following album didn't perform as well, sales wise, but still got Grammys. And Grammy is not just country; it's
right,
everyone. And and I don't remember the 2006 Grammys, but I could imagine that there was some sort of like stick it to the man kind of a thing that we're going to celebrate the chicks next album.
Well, and I'm glad that you raised that, because Natalie Maines, I feel like I would want to be her best friend.
Period.
So this album, normally for bands or artists that find themselves in a pickle, would be an apology album. And this was the opposite. Their number one song, and the one that they performed at the Grammys, was Not Ready to Make Nice.
Nice. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. And it's like, I'll read some of the lyrics. I'm not ready to make nice. I'm not ready to back down. I'm still mad as hell, and I don't have time to go round and round and round. They were like, I am not
Double
here
down.
to say I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't say anything wrong. She had said multiple times, in America, we have freedom of speech, and I should be allowed to voice my opinions, which were not aggressive to anybody or accusatory. It was literally just, she was embarrassed that she's from the same state as the president who is about to launch a major invasion on a country that, as we later learned, did not have what he said they had, weapons of mass destruction. So, yeah, I think that's...
Sorry if
I
I
think
read what you were saying, Manny, but I felt like you were...
Yeah, no, that just added a little bit more flavor to it. I was also going to say that it was my when we're talking about like our personal reactions of it, I feel like this came shortly after the cancellation of Lauryn Hill, and I just went to go like Google it and get this. A caller to the Howard Stern show claimed Lauryn Hill of the Fugees made anti-white statements during an MTV interview to the effect of proclaiming she'd rather see her child starve than have a white kid buy her album in 1996. I didn't even realize. Yes, that's what just came up in a quick Google search. So
That was in 96?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if those dates are right. That was just like a quick Google search, but I think that they were very close in time frame, and I think for me, I was just heartbroken by like the way that these two of my like favorite female artist group or whatever were being covered by the media by things that they said, and I just remember being like, what, why, like, what does this mean, you know, like I don't know. And then contrast that to like what we'll get into next week with like how the cancellation of men and not playing their songs and their music and stuff. It feels also rotten.
Yeah, and I think you made a parallel there, Manny. I shouldn't say I think. You made a parallel about Taylor Swift, and I hadn't made that connection before, but that is a really good comparison. The main difference being that Taylor Swift started speaking her mind on, managing her own catalog and having ownership of her music and politics. She started speaking recently, not too recently, I guess, probably for almost a decade now, about politics. That came after, I believe, her transition from country music to pop. And her fame has, grown and grown and grown over the course of her career. So one possible theory here could be the chicks staying in country music has, to a certain degree, limited their audience. Like, I know we've talked about this. I'm not a fan of country music, and it's nothing political. It's literally just my preference and my taste. And the chicks came through. Like, I was working at Lone Star Steakhouse and Saloon, and they were, a Texas-styled company, and they played country music. And so there was a moment there in 2000 to 2002 where I got into whatever mainstream country music was, and the chicks were right up in there for me. And so I heard them and I loved them and I listened to all of their albums. But I think that was definitely the exception for me. And
I think mainstream country music had a moment between 2000 and 2003.
interesting. I wonder
Yeah.
I feel
why.
like earlier than that for me, because like I liked Shania Twain.
Oh yeah,
and,
Shania. Yeah,
Faith Hill and
you're right.
Yeah.
and I like
did have a moment.
early Carrie Underwood. You know,
Yeah, but
like
Carrie Underwood was after all
later.
this. Like,
Yeah,
that's like
but I'm
the
just saying, there's
early
like there
2000s.
was like a pop,
pop country
that
like,
I liked.
yeah, country music had a bigger reach, I feel like, than it does now, and it might have been in the early 90s starting to like it started with Shania, right? But like I think that it really like made its way to the radio, I want to say, more than just country stations. I from what I remember, and I don't know, I could be wrong about that, but I listened to a lot of country music between those.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because now I'm wondering if the Chicks had found themselves at a slightly different point in time, would this cancellation
No.
fully cancel
No,
them?
their voices are. When you were talking about Traveling Soldier, that line like I cried, never gonna hold the hand of another guy. Like that riff is
Yes.
everything. It's
And by the
everything.
way, that's a cover. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
I didn't look up who sang it originally, but yeah, when I was reading on like their Wikipedia page, it says their cover of Traveling Soldier.
Oh,
So I don't know who did it first, but it
it
couldn't
doesn't
have been
matter.
better
They
than
suck.
that.
Just
That's how the Chicks is like. I'm gonna say this out loud, and I'm sure people are gonna be like, "What the f?" But their cover of "Landslide" was
Oh, yes.
my exposure to that song. So I know that's terrible because Stevie Nicks is a
No,
is a
I
queen.
think that's pretty typical.
Well, but I love that song, like, and it made me listen to the original, and I ended up choreographing a dance to another cover of it because it's just like one of my favorite songs. Like, but I guess I say that to say that Chicks can really cover a song. Like, it
well, their harmonies
transcends.
are
It's beautiful.
just so tender and smooth and rich. Like there's not a comparable sound to also their voices, which they go into in the wrong. You're wrong about pretty in depth. I think they are not in depth, but they at least like cover it better than whatever we're trying to do right now.
Also, I feel like
I've
been seeing a lot of like threads and memes, and it's like the question is, who are some white people that black people don't play about? And I
Yeah.
feel like the Chicks need to be added to that list.
I think they
like,
could.
Oh, who are the other ones? I'm dying to know.
oh man, Betty White
Betty White.
is
Oh,
one. I can't remember some of the other ones, but that one's a popular one.
Yeah.
Celine Dion.
Oh,
There's like a list of it's funny.
that's good. That's good.
I do like that. We'll need to explore that in a little more detail. Yeah, and I think, the other thing as I was reading through the chain of events surrounding the Chicks is this one, like when they were canceled, I feel like it kind of went over my head because I wasn't watching or following conservative or right-wing media at that time. And so I didn't realize how pervasive this like cancellation of the Chicks was. The things that I did get were the terrible commentary about like Natalie Maines being fat and stuff like that. Like, or women singers need to sing and not speak. And just like terrible commentary like that was so common in that era of like, you mean nothing unless you sit down and shut up and you're pretty. And so there was one comedian, one of those like Jeff Foxworthy, one of those comedians that made a
That's
comment.
being generous, calling him a comedian.
I mean, like Jeff Foxworthy was like,
I know, but he's not funny.
Okay. Well, that's a conversation for another day. But they did that group, of like the Jeff Foxworthy country guys who are comedians. And one of those guys, and I'm sorry, I'm totally blanking on all of their names right now, but it was like, he was like a heavy set. His shtick was like, very blue collar, very like hillbilly. Like he just like leaned into that mold. And he was the one who was making comments about Natalie Maines being fat, which was just appalling. Like that is, I mean, first of all, she's not.
Right.
Like, let's just say that outright. And what does anything about her body have to do with her beautiful voice and talent and her personal opinion? And so they just like raked her over the coals, of like, they attacked her character. They attacked her, physical appearance, her intellect. She had to hire all these like personal bodyguards and security and have her house under security 24/7 in order to like feel safe. She has children, like there was just so many implications by one statement that was made that was by all means very benign. Literally, she didn't say the president's name.
And widely held. Like many people agreed with what she said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It was just so sad. And I think that, I mean, again, this goes back to the patriarchy, but I think if a male had said it, it would have sparked a debate. And I know
Well,
that's
a male did say it. A male did say it. Kanye said George Bush does not like black people.
right.
That was after Katrina.
However,
After Katrina.
like if a white country musician had said
Well, I'm just
it.
saying we do have a contemporary statement being made live on TV that sparked controversy but didn't cancel, like it didn't, and I'm also thinking here about like our definition of criminality in this country and how the gatekeeping of criminality, of like how many chances actual criminal behavior gets given to men before they get canceled as opposed to women. And that is just ridiculous to me that like we have this evidence of, again, we'll get into it next week, but like even like with we'll just say it with like P. Diddy and like actually getting charged with like having possession of guns and stuff like that, and like how many opportunities, how many times the charges are actually made, and yet the industry will still play their music on the radio station. Chris Brown, we saw Chris Brown literally beat the shit out of Rihanna, and his music still gets played. He still gets to book stadiums, sold out like arenas, and like.
And the first words out of people's mouth, if you bring that up, are like, well, she hit him too. Like they're immediately jumping to his defense. It's like,
right.
What?
And that is
what kind of
literally
argument is that?
It just the juxtaposition of actual literal criminal behavior versus our nationalist belief that we are superior to other countries is wild to me. I can't. That's like where we are, I think, now when we like look back at these moments in history of like what were we actually agreeing to with the United States government when we like beyond like the stuff with the other country that we know they didn't have weapons of mass destruction. What psychologically were we agreeing to? What contract were we agreeing to when we went to war with these other countries that says we are superior to other people? And it's all these little subtle things that we do and we go along with, that we don't protest, that make that convince us that these nonviolent behaviors or these nonviolent beliefs are actually okay, when really they're like completely dangerous and like brainwashing and just cause so much harm. They distract us from the real actual like criminality that's happening in front of us.
Right. Well, it's super interesting that you went there, because just pause for a moment, because I'm pulling up something that I think, Steph, you just sent. From Threads, it said low-rise jeans, starvation skinny, and an unconstitutional war for oil. Early 2000s nostalgia is out of control. And like, for our listeners, we literally just, went into Venezuela and stole their president. And it's kind of it's wild parallels. I think there's almost something, this is going to sound so messed up, but Stockholm syndrome-y. But there's almost something comforting about the fact that like actually what's happening today is not that crazy, because it's happened before. Like sometimes I feel very doomsday about the current
leader
events.
though being kidnapped.
Sorry.
Mine is the leader being kidnapped, but
it's all just, I mean, what is happening? But then also you reflect on these times where, we just invaded a country that had nothing to do with 9/11 in the name of 9/11, which at the time we all accepted because 9/11, I don't know.
Because we saw, I think it's because we saw the people. There were so many families in New York that were
on our home
devastated
turf
by it, right? Like it was the first time that we were invaded, and so we were vulnerable to that, which makes sense. But in comparison to what we do to other countries, doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense when you think about it.
So it's just, I don't know. And I think there was something else there that I was like thinking about with it made me think about Beyonce and her not being nominated as a country artist, and just how the conservative, this is what makes me not want to listen to country music anymore, is these kind of reactions to women artists making beautiful music, and the way that white conservatives will never I don't know, just the way that they like monopolize that genre.
And have a very specific mold that you have to fit in if you're going to be accepted in that space. And I think for me with the Chicks, the thing that I love so much is that they continue to this day to not accept that. They are consistent in the style of music that they play. They are wildly talented. And they are consistent in their, political views and their standpoint, their point of view, and they won't shut up, even though, the conservative media would love if they did. So I think that
No, they would love for them to speak. They just want it to be about being pro-America.
Yeah, those are the only words that are allowed. And so, I just think, I think they're brilliant for so many reasons. And I personally love an artist or a band that is more than just their music. And I know we've talked about and we will continue to talk about, can you separate the artist from the person, and can you just appreciate the art? And for whatever reason, for me, I need both. It's really hard. Listening to R. Kelly now is just totally tainted for me, and that sucks, but that's kind of part of who I am. And so the combo of the Chicks being all things to me is so lovely. When I think of them, it makes me happy, because I feel like they're living it. They're being true to who they are, and they're just fucking
They're so
talented.
incredibly talented. They are. There's something about when you listen to music nowadays of last week when we did that little thing at the end, and we were looking at all the artists on that top list. I mean, I didn't even go into some of the other songs from some of the artists on that list, you know, but like when I look back at like the reaction of those kids listening to Celine Dion, listening to the Chicks, and then you include in that there was Michael Jackson, there was Whitney, there was all these, like, Mariah Carey, you know, like we just really, I'm not going to say I took it for granted. I just didn't realize that that is a once in a lifetime gift to be able to hear that much talent. Because like I don't see, I'm not trying to be like an old person. Like I want to like really appreciate the youth in their musical taste and stuff. But like they're like going back to how we started this episode with Shine. Like they can't channel it the way that it was channeled in the 90s. And, you know, we have to question why that is. You know, why aren't we able to access that kind of power and talent and gifts anymore? And I have theories about that, but, you know, we don't have time for that on this podcast. But I just think now that I get to look back and reflect on it and reminisce on it, wow, how amazing that those artists shaped our perspective, our lives, our formative years. I feel so grateful, actually.
I think I think we end there. I love that. Before we wrap, any confessionals from the two of you?
At the beginning, just when you were like reading through the albums that they've released and their song titles, like I did get lots of warm fuzzy feelings. Like, and I feel like when I think about the Chicks, I feel like I was like, I thought going into it, I'm not afraid. I'm sorry, I'm kind of bumbling over myself, but I know that their political views align with mine. And so I thought maybe I got into the Chicks because of their political views, but really I liked their music. I did.
Their music bangs.
Their music bangs. Like when I was reading that list and I was like, oh, ready to run. Like, I'm like, I liked them. Like, period. They're just talented. They made good music that transcended. And because I too was not really into country music, but something about their voices and the way that they sing has soul to it, and it makes you feel connected. So again, I think that they should absolutely be added to the list of white people that Black people just don't play about. We don't play about the Chicks.
I think we should wrap each episode with that.
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
I said I think we should wrap each episode with that, like just a white person.
There's not many. We won't make it to the end of this season.
Wasn't. It's not a long list.
We can't. It's them and them.
Okay, fine.
So I have sort of a sentimental confession. When I think of the Chicks, I think about my freshman and sophomore year of high school, and somewhat of my junior year too. I think about I used to skip study hall with like some of the like older girls in school. Like I think they were juniors and I was like a freshman or sophomore or whatever. And we would skip study hall and we would go to like this Mexican restaurant for lunch, and we would listen to the Chicks as we were driving to the restaurant. And I think, Kim, you'll have to tell me, did you ever skip school with me then? I know definitely Caroline did. And Caroline passed away almost 5 years ago now, 6 years ago now. So I always think of Caroline when I hear the Chicks. I always think of Wide Open Spaces. She just brings me so much comfort I just think of her spirit. When I hear her music, when I hear that music, I think of her. I think of Tara, and we used to love like Goodbye Earl. We watched Thelma and Louise, where they go over the cliff. So like we always have been like tight like that, like fuck the man, you know. And so like, Goodbye Earl, when that came out, like that was like our thing, like fuck these dudes, you know. So I just get very sentimental when I hear about them. It just makes me think of friendships, and it makes me think of leaving and graduating high school, because I used to always substitute wide open spaces where it's like that part where it's like I remember listening to this on repeat for 7 hours when I was leaving in the back seat of my parents' car, leaving Maryland and going to Ohio State for the first time, getting dropped off at school. I remember listening to Wide Open Spaces on repeat. And there's this part where they're like, she knows the highest stakes. She knows the highest stakes. And I would substitute it for, she knows Ohio State.
Oh my God, I love that.
So yeah, I'm very sentimental about the Chicks.
I love
they're
that.
very sweet. Yeah, they hold a very sweet spot in my heart for sure.
It's so funny how I think I can speak for all of us when I say we are not the biggest country music fans, but I feel like between the Chicks and Shania Twain, I have a lot of memories that are like intertwined with those ladies. And so it's just kind of funny to me to reflect on that. But
Yeah.
anyways, loved chatting about the Chicks today. Love that we can keep the theme on cancel culture and the patriarchy and all of that, but do it in a way that brings me much more joy than in the past. And really excited to continue our millennial adventures next week. So please look for us on social media and comment your favorite Chicks memories. And we'll see you all very soon.
Hey, bitches. That's a wrap on another episode of You Can Call Me Karen. If you liked what you heard or didn't, go to our show page and leave a review. Just know we will call you out. And if, unlike my two co-hosts, you find yourself scrolling endlessly on TikTok, follow us at You Can Call Me Karen. And if you're still living in the 20th century like a boomer, don't worry. You can find us on Instagram and YouTube at You Can Call Me Karen _pod. We love you for listening.
And they're all made out of ticky-tacky, and they all look just the same.